Animal Advocacy Africa, just to give a brief introduction about what we do. We are an organization that works to, promote or support animal welfare organizations in Africa, especially and particularly with regards to effective fundraising, organizational management, and operations. And currently, we are piloting our work by supporting 11 animal welfare organizations in Nigeria, in Cameroon, in South Africa, in Zimbabwe, Kenya, and Tanzania. So our pilot is this webinar is basically a result of some of the pilot work that I've been doing with some of the animal welfare organizations that we've been working with, and then we are happy to particularly start this first webinar, our very first webinar, in which we'll be showcasing the work of 2 leading African animal welfare nonprofits in Southern Africa. I am someone that has always, spoken or been talked about the neglectedness of animal welfare, particularly in Africa. But with the work that we are doing, and of course in support with other animal welfare, international animal welfare organizations across the world, we are happy to know that that narrative is changing as we all continue to provide, more visibility, mobilize resources, and build the capacity of, these local animal welfare organizations who are really doing great work on the ground in their respective countries and communities in Africa. So this series, serves to provide a platform for animal welfare organizations to present their work to the wider community, to connect them within and beyond the continent in which they work, and to make sure that they are able to network and get that visibility and support and organizational capacity that we want them to have. So we are joined for this particular webinar. We are going to be joined by, or we will have 2 presenters who are leaders of 2 nonprofits, African nonprofits that we are supporting, and they'll be discussing their work on farmed animal welfare. The speakers of this webinar are Mandla, Gqamlana from Coalition of Animal Welfare Organizations, CAAWO, and also Happison Chikova from Help Initiatives for People organization. So Mandla is going to start this presentation because I can see it's very much ready now. And just to give a brief introduction about who Mandla is, Mandla Gqamlana is an animal welfare activist that is passionate about changing society's perceptions and treatment of animals. He currently serves as a programs director at the Coalition of African Animal Welfare Organizations, and he is a member of the Open Wing Alliance Advisory Committee. He was previously attached to the Southern African Faith Communities Environment Institute, and also has been a part of the South African Mass Animal Sterilization Trust. So I would like to welcome Mandla to start his presentation right now, and I look forward to learning as I give him the mic in quotes. So Mandla, over to you, please. You're muted. All right.
Hi, everyone. And thank you very much, Kiki, for that introduction. Essentially, this presentation will give a very brief overview of CAAWO, its programs, and the updates for the current year 2021. So that in a nutshell, that's what this presentation is going to be to outline. Essentially, CAAWO aims to improve the conditions of animals by engaging and collaborating on issues of animal welfare, and also by advocating and lobbying for better animal welfare laws. CAAWO also conducts trainings, to improve awareness and animal welfare practices, with the goal of equipping relevant persons to achieve change. We also coordinate these efforts by sharing information and resources on the work that we do in the continent. CAAWO CAAWO is running about 5 programs currently. The first one being aquaculture welfare, and this program was essentially, born out of realizing that the fish farming is expanding in the continent, and that through that expansion, a number of critical questions have come to the fore. And those questions relate to the state of animal welfare in these fish farms. And that's essentially the program then, or the campaign on aquaculture welfare focuses on the welfare of farmed aquatic animals, not only fish, but aquatic animals that are farmed and mostly used for food purposes. And the most prevalent animal welfare issues that we find in these farms relate to water quality, issues of stocking density, disease control, slaughter methods, and so on and so on. The second campaign that we are involved in is the sow stalls campaign, or the gestation crates campaign, which essentially is aimed at ending the confinement of sows in stalls throughout their pregnancies. Now, there are different kinds of stalls. There are stalls that are used for when sows are pregnant, but also there are stalls that are used for when sows gives birth, and also for nesting, when they nest their young ones. So the campaign is against discouraging the confinement of sows in these cages. The third campaign is the cage-free campaign, which we are implementing in collaboration with the Opening Alliance, and essentially it's aimed at ending the cruel confinement of egg-laying hens by advocating for cage-free housing systems in the egg production sector. The fourth program that we are involved in is humane education, which essentially focuses on humane treatment of animals and at creating a culture of empathy and caring. So that there's a program that we're running around that. And the last one is the research component of our work, which I will speak to in the following slides. Now, what we have done this year in relation to each work program or work stream is that around aquaculture welfare, we've sought this year to raise awareness that aquaculture is expanding in Africa, and therefore its expansion naturally translates into more aquatic animals being confined in these farms, and therefore that also increases the number, the welfare issues that then come to the fore. So we've convened since this year, we've been convening quarterly webinars, wherein we've been focusing on the need for aquatic animal welfare. And these webinars have been open to everyone, and they've been a great success because they've been attended by everyone across the board, from communities, NGOs, academia. So it's been a great success. The second issue that we've been engaged with has been the development of the aquaculture development bill in South Africa. South Africa is in the process of developing a bill that will that will regulate the aquaculture sector. And our involvement essentially has been around ensuring that the animal welfare component of the bill is in line, you know, with global animal welfare standards, in particular the OIE standards. And we've also joined the Aquatic Animal Alliance, which is led by Aquatic Life Institute. And this has given us a great platform to bring to the table African issues around animal welfare, and therefore put aquatic animal welfare issues on the global agenda. Lastly, we are currently developing an aquatic animal welfare information material, and it's going to take the form of infographics, so that it's less bulky in terms of content, but it gives information in the form of pictures. That is in the pipeline, and that is essentially aimed at sharing information. It's also aimed at capacitating people around this rather important pillar of animal welfare, which is aquatic animal welfare. In terms of the Soul Stores campaign, we've made strides this year in Zimbabwe and Tanzania, where we've engaged corporates and farmers, and also provided training around Soul Stores and why this campaign. And this has enabled us to have engagement with the Zimbabwe Pig Industry Board, who have given us a go-ahead to undertake a baseline survey of the state of the pig industry in the country. And we've also been engaging corporates in South Africa around the existing South African pig welfare code. And essentially here the idea is to engage corporates so that as they procure pork meat, they can be conscious of the conditions under which these animals are kept under before they get to their shelves. And in terms of the cage-free eggs campaign, this is essentially the list of corporates that we have engaged, and some we've engaged in collaboration with other animal welfare organizations in the continent, where we've presented a united force and a united effort in terms of what our demand was, and it's been a great success. We've also participated in the global campaign against some brands, which culminated in Yam Brands committing to procuring cage-free eggs. This global campaign was, of course, spearheaded by the Opening Alliance. We're just one of the organizations that were part of that global campaign. And as part of advancing this campaign at a global level, we have been in engagement with the South African Chief Veterinary Officer. We engaged that office just ahead of the 88th OIE General Session, which was going to vote on defining new parameters for laying hen welfare in the world. or in the globe. And we sought to influence the South African delegation that was going to go to this meeting, so that they could vote in favor of caged hens. And of course, by now we know that South Africa did not do that. I mean, the South African delegation did not do that. But be that as it may, from our side, we sought to influence them, and we continue to engage with them so that they can see the reasoning behind our campaign. And the human education component of our work, we've developed this year an online animal welfare course, which everyone can access through our website. It's an 8-module course that essentially introduces the concept of five freedoms, and also speaks to different perspectives in the field of animal welfare, animal law, and also on ideas around living more consciously as we move forward. So everyone is invited and welcome to go onto our website. There's an e-learning tab that someone will be able to access this course. And the aim here is that next year there are engagement currently underway to roll out this course to local schools in the countries that we work in. And lastly, the research component of our work is actually aimed at ensuring that we are able to produce research that is Africa specific, that's able to speak to the void that exists in Africa-specific animal welfare research. So we currently have 2 research projects that are underway. They are at master's and PhD levels. The study at master's level and they are both with the University of the Western Cape, which is here in South Africa, in Cape Town. The first study is about evaluating the performance of aquaculture under Operation Pakisa. And essentially the study seeks to look at whether really the expansion of the aquaculture sector does really translate into job creation, into improved supply of fish, and into improved rural local economic development. We are hoping that the study will be able to ventilate those issues, so that ultimately we can really make a determination as to whether the narrative that the expansion of aquaculture is the silver bullet to the continent's food security issues. And the second study, which is being undertaken by a PhD student, looks at the impact of industrial farming on the livelihoods of local communities, the environment, and the well-being of animals. And it takes a Southern African perspective. And again, we hope that the findings of the study will go a long way in terms of informing the work that we are doing. I think I'll stop there, Kiki. Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mandla, for sharing your work with us. I think you're doing really good, amazing work. And I really appreciate the fact that you are, your work is touching on different aspects of animal welfare, different species, and also particularly on education, which we know that is well needed to even be able to promote or successfully promote, advocacy policies and implementation on animal welfare, particularly in Africa. So thank you so much for your work. And I want to throw, give the opportunity for questions for between 5 to 10 minutes for Mandla. Do we have any questions for him on his work or anything that we feel, questions will be welcome at this time for Mandla? Words of encouragement too would be nice, we need that. So yeah, do we have any questions, any comments, any suggestions from anyone here for Mandla? Okay, so I have a Cameron here is asking, have you been in contact with the Aquatic Animal Alliance regarding the aquaculture project?
Yes, Kiki, as I said that we part of the Aquatic Animal Alliance, which is being spearheaded by Ali. So we are part of their programs, and yeah.
Okay. Any other questions for Mandla? Okay, if there are no further questions, or if you want to ask them, we can always take both together once Happison is done with this presentation. So I'm going to welcome now Happison to make his presentation. But before he comes in, I'm going to do a little bit of introduction of exactly of who Happison is and what exactly it does. So Happison Chikova is the founder and director at Help Initiatives for People organization, an animal welfare focused organization. He has over 13 years of experience implementing community development initiatives and working with smallholder farmers, youths, and women. He has managed several grant portfolios from local and international donors, and he is a former climate change research fellow with the University of Dar es Salaam, funded by the International Development Research Center. He currently holds a BSc in Geography and Environmental Studies, which he obtained from the Midland State University in Zimbabwe. And he's currently running an MSc program in Global Food Security and Nutrition with the University of Edinburgh. So join me all in welcoming Happison to start his presentation and showcase his work to us. Thank you. Happison, are you there?
Hello, it's nice to join you, but it's late because of the internet challenges. I was having internet challenges, so my apologies.
No problem, Happison. We are very happy to have you back. So you can make your presentation now.
Thank you very much. I am Chikova. I work for Help Initiative for Organization. That is in Masvingo province. We are based in Zimbabwe, Masvingo province. I am the director at this organization. Yeah, in Masvingo, we are covering about 3 districts. And as for my education qualifications, I hold a BSc honors in Geography and Environmental Studies with the Midland State University. And also I'm finishing up an MSc in Global Food Security and Nutrition with the University of Edinburgh. I think you can move on. The slides. The HELP Initiative for Organization is an organization that was formed in 2009, but basically we were doing, we were doing food security programming. But in 2017, we realized, the challenges that are faced with, with animals, especially the farmed animals, when we were implementing a project with the HIPO International for about 2 years. So we decided as the board and also as the management to shift our focus to champion, the rights and welfare of animals, and also to promote the consumption of plant-based protein. Then our objective, basically, they are to protect, the rights of farmed animals from the violation through education and advocacy. And also the second one is to improve the animal welfare by building the capacity of smallholder farmers on farmed animal management. Then, the last one is to improve human diets through conscientize consumers on the importance of consuming healthy diets. Our programs currently, we have got the education and awareness on animal rights and well-being, then the rights to adequate shelter, that is focusing on chickens, cattle, goats, and poultry, then the rights to care and treatment, and also the rights to fresh and clean water. The background, I'm going to give just a background in our province, Masvingo province, because of the socio-economic, and the cultural aspects in our societies. Our culture really, they doesn't value, the rights of farmed animals. So these animals are subjected into a lot of challenges and also torture. Then there is also lack of care and support in terms of, the housing, in terms of the treatment, in terms of the drugs. Just for the past 2 years, our government was much involved in the treatment and dipping of cattle, but they just said no. The farmers, they must have that responsibility, to take care of their farmed animals. Then also in terms of the poor diets and also malnourishment because of droughts and also climate change, the animals, that's a minute. The farmed animals, they are faced with malnourishment. They don't have access to adequate food and nutrition food. So as a result, a lot of cattle, a lot of goats, a lot of chickens, they die on the way. Just to give you just a quick and a near example, recently, our province has lost over 100,000 cattle and also some goats because of the general disease that is called, teleosis. So that is one of the major problems that Then the other one is poor animal shelter. Farmers, they don't have that knowledge, to build well ventilated and well spaced shelter for animals. And as a result, these animals are subjected to diseases and also poor living conditions. Like as we were growing up, we used to build, this shelter for goats just on the ground. But with the coming of HIPO, we managed to, to have some models that are workable, that are, that fit well, the health of the goats. So we just implemented some of the models within the communities. Then also there is lack of freedom. Let me give you an example of, the goats. Some goats here in Zimbabwe, they are, they spend the whole day tied on a tree, just grazing around. So animals, they don't have that freedom. And also chickens, they are caged, especially in the urban areas and also in the in the rural areas, they just sleep anywhere, and also they are subjected to predators. We can move on. We can move on. Then this is an example of a caged indigenous chicken project that is in Masvingo urban. The Masvingo urban laws, bylaws, they stipulate that a household can rear up to 25 chickens. But if you see, this is the shorter space, and those small chickens, they are subjected to just short space without adequate aeration. And also this affects, their growth, and also they will be subjected to lots of diseases. We can. Then our activities, we are working with the local authorities, to set up adequate, space for, that is, housing space for poultry projects. Then we are also sensitizing residents on the city bylaws, which allows for up to 25 chickens per household. So because of poverty and because of hard economic challenges, you realize that some of the households, they are rearing only 300 square meters over maybe 2,000, chickens, per circle. So our duty as an organization, we are conscientizing and we are sensitizing about the residents, about the bylaws, and also about the rights of these poultry, so that they can enjoy life just as as living organisms. Then we are also training residents on the construction of standardized and well-ventilated poultry shelter. Then also we have activities on the rights and access to adequate and nutrition feeds, that is promoting secular agriculture, where smallholder farmers are encouraged to plant small grains such as millet as poultry feed, and chicken droppings, being applied in the field. That is more like, Then this is one of our projects where this guy from Waditen Chiri is feeding his indigenous chickens, with from millet feed. So those are the chickens. So this is, we trained these communities in Chiri, so that in terms of the sustainable production of the millet, so that they can, they can then supply this as feed for their chickens. Then we are also into fodder production and training for smallholder goat breeders, because of the challenges of the rampant droughts, and also Masvingo province as a province that is prone to droughts. Goats and other livestock like cattle, they don't have access to to feed. So this is, we have, through HIPO International and other partners, we managed to grow some feed, that is lucerne and other grasses, for for the feeding of the goats. Then on fodder production, we facilitate the production of fodder for goats, for goat feeding. We have got a 15-hectare of piece of land that is communal based in Chiri district, but it's unfortunate that the communities, they use the bores to water the fodder, but instead of maybe this solar powered, we are moving towards that. Then also we facilitate the formation of 50 savings and lending groups, where the savings are channeled towards the purchase of drugs and medicine for goats and also for chicken, so that we can fight these tick-borne diseases that are prevalent in Masvingo province, and also so that we can also treat other diseases during the rain seasons. So this is more like a saving and lending, where but some of the money also they are used to buy to buy food for the households. Then we are also training the paravets officers from the communities on animal management. So in Chiri district, we trained about 20 paravets that is focusing on the treatment of domestic domestic livestock. This was driven by the fact that there is shortage of the human resource capacity in terms of the vet extension officers. So these para-vets, they are assisting the vet extension officers, in order to cover the gap. Then also we also bought some drug kits and tools to use. That was worth 5,000 as a startup capital, for the para-vets, because they will be charging some nominal fee for the treatment of the livestock, that is cattle and goats. We can move on. Then we also carried out some awareness campaigns on the rights of animal, so that they can have, a conducive environment for survival. But this objective was driven by the fact that of the socio-economic and cultural practices and the wrong perspective, on the animal welfare within our communities. So we held about 30 meetings in Chivi district. That is the meeting, the first one on my left, or on the, maybe on your left or on your right. Those are the youth that are dramatizing on the need to, to uphold and also to, to observe, the rights of the farmed animals. That is also another community meeting where you see a lot of people seated there. Then on advocacy, on animal rights and well-being, we sensitized, as I have alluded earlier on, about 1,000 smallholder farmers from the meetings that we did, that is through artistic expression. Then also the local leadership were engaged to come up with just local laws. These are localized laws, not national laws, that protect the welfare of animal at the local level from any forms of abuse. So these leaders, they are more like our champions. They are more like our voices. They are more like our eye that monitor, the welfare of animal, the welfare in terms of the shelter, the welfare in terms of the treatment, the welfare in terms when they, some of the animals like cattle, they are used, for farming. So they will monitor how long, because some will just wake up early in the morning, 6 a.m. They use those animals on the, on the uploads up to maybe 12 p.m. So they, these community leaders, they will be there to, to monitor and also to advise, and also to, to give some, to put some punitive measures so that, the rights of animals are well observed. Then that is a sustainable goat training housing project. This was facilitated by, in partnership with the AFA. That, that it's more like a poor picture, but you can see that housing, it's more like a house whereby we, we, through the training of the, the communities, we taught them that these houses must be, raised 1 meter above the ground, so that, they, during the rain seasons, or even without the rain seasons, the goats are, they are living in a proper environment without any dung, without any wet. Then the community handing over of, this was more like an indigenous chicken project where we trained on the housing again, on sustainable management of these chickens. That is the donor who was just being handed, a chicken for, for his relish. Yeah. Then the activities, we constructed about 15 sustainable housing structures for 150 caged goats. That was in Chivi district. Also, we trained the smallholder farmers and youth on the construction of these housing. So the youth also to provide, employment opportunities. We just engaged them. Then we also raised awareness on sustainable management of goats, as most of them spend the whole day tied on shrubs, for when grazing. I think I've highlighted this point earlier on. Then on promotion of plant-based protein, we constructed about 10 vegetable gardens, in Chivi district, and also in the peri-urban of Masvingo, and also we linked about 500 smallholder farmers to plant-based markets, and also we educated 500 smallholder farmers on the food processing and the vegetable recipes. Because one of the major problem, that we have is, is poor skills, on the processing of the plant-based protein. But we, during, this construction of the 10 sustainable nutrition gardens, because these gardens, they just use, the manure, and also there is some conservation farming just going on there. So we just train them on how to prepare the food for the nourishment of their families. And also we are also encouraging them to conserve the environment, because most of the, of the plant-based protein is coming from the fruits, and also the vitamins coming from the indigenous fruits. So we are also conscientizing them to properly manage their environment, and also to grow more indigenous trees, so that they can have access to this nutritious plant-based protein food. Then the challenge that we are currently facing as an organization is we are lacking, extra funding, both as a community-based organization. We are lacking that networking, but thank God for the AAA, because, it opened up our eyes, and also it opened up our avenues, so that we can link up with other prospective donors. So we are lacking funding for scaling up, that is scaling up our projects, and also scaling out, that is expanding our projects. So in a nutshell, this is all what we are doing. But I would also want to extend my gratitude to Madam Gina for for inviting me for this webinar, so that I can also share part of our story to the whole community that is doing animal welfare programming. Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Kiki. I really appreciate for this time. My apology for the late joining of the meeting is because of the network challenges. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Happison. That was a very wonderful presentation. And I think for your work, I particularly love the way you connect animal welfare to other important areas of health and development. For example, you are connecting animal welfare with food security. You are connecting animal welfare with animal health. You're also connecting animal welfare with climate change. And all of these are, and having this holistic approach to animal welfare really helps to communicate the message of animal welfare, and also to, to create some kind of flow-through effects to be able to impact even other areas that we didn't even think the animal welfare would be able to, impact positively naturally. So thank you so much. And I would want to open, give opportunities for anybody who has any questions or comments or words of encouragement for Happison Chikova, even at this time. Do we have any questions, any comments? Okay, so there's a question which is to both of the speakers. It says, how do you find response from the communities you educate? How do you find the response from the communities you educate and work with? I think the person is asking what is the response with the communities you work? What are their, what is their response to the work you're doing? Is it positive? Is it negative? How has it been so far working with the communities that you have been doing work in over the years? So I think, Mandla, do you want to go first?
Yes, thanks, Kiki. Thanks for the question. So generally, the response has been a very good response. It's been overwhelming. But one must also accept that we've been operating under difficult and challenging times. with the advent of COVID.
Mm.
And thus we find ourselves having to engage virtually, and the virtual medium of engagement by its very nature is limiting, because we find that there are people who do not have access, you know, to these tools or modes of engagements, and therefore they would not necessarily be privy to some of the work that we are doing within this confined space. And thus, with the relaxation of COVID restrictions, there is a push to go out there and reach communities that we have not been able to reach. But generally, the response has been positive. There's been enthusiasm, there's been engagement, and such platforms like the one that we are in today, you know, further give airtime and also mileage to the work that we are doing, and hopefully out of this engagement, there will be collaborations that will emerge out of it, so that as African organizations working in the same space, you can be able to reach out to each other, hold each other's hands, and then take the struggle forward. Thanks, Kiki.
Great, thank you. Happison?
Yeah, there is positive response from the communities, because as you highlighted that we are linking a lot of things, and also we are trying to cure other, you know, to address other challenges within our operation framework. So they, the challenges are there, but the response, they are beginning to understand, the communities, because the cultural issues, it's not a one day, or it's not a one season, event whereby people just readjust, but with our presence, and also with with a lot of noise that we are making, we are seeing a positive response.
Okay.
Yes.
To you, both of you, would be that beyond just funding, what kind of external support would you like to receive? I mean, we all know that funding is always usually like a very, very big bottleneck in not just in animal welfare organizations, and even in most other local African organizations. But what kind of external support would you like to receive apart from funding?
Yes, in terms of apart from funding, I think we need more platforms like this to network, and also we need some incubation, so that we can grow to that we can grow maybe from the province and cover other provinces. Then also in terms of maybe materials, because there is shortage of materials, so that we can put in the library, and also we can liaise and advocate and lobby for those materials, so that they can be included in the syllabus, from the primary level maybe to the secondary level, so that it can be a culture of in terms of animal conservation and also the welfare management. So those like booklets, they are also and also in terms of the distribution, it's not that costly. We have got our structures that are on the ground, and also we've got our structures and also our maybe the libraries that are used by the communities in schools, so that we can just see. It's not that expensive. We can just put those materials so that people, they can read more. But these materials maybe we can translate them into our local language, so that those that are illiterate, they can also be able to access, to read and understand those materials.
All right.
Yeah,
that definitely makes a lot of sense. Education, provision of books, That's something that is inexpensive but effective. I mean, reading is should be a culture among every community worldwide. So, and that's a very good avenue to promote education and awareness on animal welfare. So I totally agree with that. Okay, so any other further questions? If not, we will be rounding up and closing this meeting. Okay. So just before we we finalize, we'll round up the meeting. I saw a comment from an organization that says it's great to see the great work that AA is doing. At Tutunzi Animal Welfare, we would like to be linked to AAA and receive mentorship and support. Yes. To answer that question, that's the essence of why we are even existing in the first place. And like I mentioned earlier, if you would join me at the start of this meeting, this is basically we are running the pilot, which will be completed by the end of November. And once we are able to complete the pilot and produce our research and present it to our networks, we know that it is then time to scale up and reach every single. Our goal is to reach every single animal welfare organization in Africa, in both Anglophone and Francophone countries, and to give them the needed support and fundraising, networking, and organizational support that they need to be able to become more effective in the work that they do. So yes, this is the reason why Animal Advocacy Africa is here, and we'll be very happy to absorb or work with more organizations in Africa as we proceed. Another question says that when was AAA formed and where is it registered? I think I will want one of the co-founders, Cameron, to answer this question. I'll be happy to have him to answer this question. Cameron, are you there? Okay, he says he can only type right now, which is fine. So he will send his message in the his response in the chat box. And also, I want, just before we go, before I forget, if you want to keep being acquainted with the activities at AAA, please feel free to follow our social media platforms. That is the major way in which we're able to also talk about our activities, put in information on what we are doing, and also maybe when it's time for us to scale up and do other things that we are doing and doing around the work, then we usually post them on social media. So please feel free to check our websites. First of all, you can feel free to follow our social media for more information. But also, particularly, I want to mention our website. Our website, whether or not you're on our pilot program, we have a lot of resources on our website that, in terms of funding opportunities, mentorship, networking, educational and training programs and resources that you can find specifically for animal welfare organizations in Africa. And it's free, it's out there, and it's open. So feel free to browse through the resource platform on our website to find out all this information and to make use of the different resources that we have put on the website for you. It is all for animal welfare organizations in Africa, and we are very happy to do the work that we do because we are very passionate about about the movement or the growing movement on animal welfare, and we want to make sure that we are putting as much support as we can to all animal welfare organizations in Africa. So if we don't have any other further comments, I think we can close the meeting now. Okay, since Cameron hasn't responded, I would just say that Animal Advocacy Africa was formed. Oh, he has responded already. He says Animal Advocacy Africa is currently fiscally and legally sponsored by an animal welfare think tank, Credence Institute, based in South Africa. Though we are working on registering ourselves in the UK in the next 6 months, AAA was formed about a year ago, after which we did 6 months of research on what our best intervention in Africa would be, and then we started our pilot program. So it's a pretty new organization, but it's a growing organization, and it's being formed, and we are working, all of us that are working in the organization are all very passionate individuals that are seeking to improve and promote the cause of animal welfare in Africa. So there you have your answer. All right then, so thank you all for joining us today, and we hope to see you in our next webinars. And please, like I mentioned, feel free to go through our website for animal welfare organizations. Representatives are here. Feel free to go to our website for more information on all things animal welfare, information and resources on all things animal welfare on the website. Thank you all, and please have a good day. Bye-bye, everyone.